I figured I'd talk about some of the advanced location technologies that are entering the Wi-Fi world, even though some of them aren't 802.11 based, and talk a little bit about analytics. So Ryan went into some of the stuff about social media. That's just a portion of it, right? So a little bit about myself. I got tired of doing a lot of site surveys and things like that, so I moved over to like a solution architect type role. So I'm working with our vendors and our partners to really kind of understand what people want and what our vendors want to sell, and trying to marry the two together and find something that works for everybody. So since I was starting with the location piece, I think most people in this room are familiar with sort of RTLS and how location is done there with 802.11, right? So we have our 3 access points. We find some common ground in the middle where we're able to say, based on this location, right? There's some level of probability that client is in this space, right? But what we're finding is that it's not necessarily accurate enough for a lot of things. It's not fast enough for a lot of things. And because of that, it's not fitting the needs of a lot of the kind of the business requirements, right? And it doesn't really work well in certain scenarios. So a couple of reasons why I wanted to highlight, right? So access points, they're on the ceiling, hopefully, or not where Eddie's lit, Eddie was showing them, right? But really, that's not always the best place for location, right? It's not bad. It's what we've had to deal with for a while, but we can do better, right? So Bluetooth, right? Low energy Bluetooth to the rescue, right? Everyone's talking about beacons now. Beacons are the new hot thing as far as location goes. Well, they're great. They offer a lot of new features that we didn't have before. They're more accurate. It's faster, right? We can do a lot there, but it's not perfect, right? There's limitations to it. You have to have a mobile app. We saw kind of with Zave's presentation, right? It's not always easy to get things calibrated, right? There's certain things it doesn't do, right? So the RTLS functions, none of those have been replaced or are replaceable with Bluetooth yet, right? Maybe we'll get there, maybe we won't. And management. So when we talk about Bluetooth, there's definitely vendors out there who are, come up with a solution to manage many beacons, right? But management in general is a challenge for Bluetooth technology. The standard is working on it, right? They're trying to come up with management, but it's definitely something that has not been solved yet. So Bluetooth-based location, right? It looks very similar. The technologies, as far as locationing, is similar, right? My device is able to say I see 3 beacons. Here's where they are. I can apply some intelligence to that back end. Do the same kind of thing I was doing with Wi-Fi, right? If anyone's done any, kind of location testing with Bluetooth-based, sort of the blue dot experience, right? It's way better than it was with Wi-Fi, right? It's every couple seconds. Accuracy is a lot better. We start to look at these numbers, though, right? Like 1 beacon per 1,000 square feet, right? Let's say we were to do it for this hotel. That's a lot of beacons, right? And we go back to that management problem, and kind of, all of us out here as, professionals, either on the admin side, on the VAR side, on the customer side, right? There's a lot of challenges that having that many beacons presents. Also, the battery-driven infrastructure, right? It's good and bad, right? So battery-based, I can get them where I want them. They can be down low. They can be, Zabe's a drinking fountain analogy, right? I could have a beacon right over the drinking fountain and measure, when people are coming to that drinking fountain. But I have to manage that infrastructure. I have to change out batteries every so often. That IL Labs article talks a lot about how long those batteries last. make sure you do your due diligence to figure out which beacons are the right fit for you, right? Because some of them are a year, year and a half, some are 3 months, right? If you have 10,000 beacons, do you want to go change them every 3 months? What about GPS, right? So maybe we don't need location that's down to a foot, right? Maybe GPS is good enough at large increments, right? It enables things like geofencing, right? Getting that intelligence of where someone is in a map, right? So here's a layout of where our hotel is here, right? In case you guys didn't know, we also fence another hotel, right? The Hyatt Place for whoever's staying over there, right, nearby. So based on the geofencing analytics, we find that 35 people are in a different place every evening. It must be just an affinity for that hotel, right? It's just something we can do, right? To understand, if you have that app on your phone, we can understand where you go and what you're doing outside of the four walls, right? Tie that into what Ryan was talking about around social media analytics. That becomes really powerful. So I think what we're going to see, is really something that's right-sized by use case, right? So a blended analytics backend, right, that uses Wi-Fi, uses Bluetooth, geofencing type technologies. Pull that all together, and then tie in all the other stuff we talked about, right, around social media, browser data, all that kind of stuff to build a complete profile of who you are, not just offline, or not just online, but offline, right? And this is being done now, right? So talking about the Target scenario, if you're out at a Target walking around a brick and mortar store, I can customize the cookies that you get on your browser at home based on where you physically walk to the Target store. Is that scary? I don't know. So really kind of, I started already highlighting on a couple of these, but the interaction between tiers, right? So if I could say, let's say I started sending advertisements to your house, right? And I know when those are going to arrive. I have the ability to say, okay, I know where they are. Is that getting them into my store, right? If I happen to have a Target app, right, I can find out, are they coming to my store? What's the average amount of time it takes for someone to get to me, right? Or maybe you're going to Walmart instead, right? But I can get a complete picture of who you are as a shopper, even when you're not on my network. And that last one, I think it's something personally I always have a challenge with, right? Is this doing right by the businesses and coming up with something that's the best for them, or are we Big Brother at times? I think it's an interesting question, especially for people that are in this room, when you're going through and designing these things. So really, this is what I want to highlight is, for all of us in this room, I think all of these type of technologies, there's a level of responsibility I think that we have as professionals. And I was, excuse me, I just wanted to highlight those. So really, one is just constant education. I think it's been a theme throughout, right? We're moving beyond Wi-Fi into some of these other technologies. Let's make sure we understand how those apply to our day-to-day life, right? And some of the challenges around it, right? So are there legal issues, right? When can I push a message to somebody, when can't I, right? When does tracking become super creepy, if it ever isn't creepy? So we have better access to analytics, right, to help out our customers, whether your customers are users of your own network, if you're, a VAR or a reseller, they might be partners, right? I think the increasing responsibility to understand our business, our customers' business, and help them understand how they can use this stuff to their advantage. Continuous education, not only of ourselves, but for our customers, right? Just keep informing them what's out there. Constant feedback to our partners or vendors, are they hitting the mark with the products that are out there? What's missing? Where do we need more security, right? And I think there's a ton of new opportunities out there for all the new stuff, the fun stuff, right? I mean, we kind of skipped over earlier, but the mobile development, what you can do with an app, it's becoming really powerful with all this kind of stuff on the back end. So I just highlighted a couple of resources. It's more for the download later, but Zabe hit on a couple of them from IL Labs. There's a few others here, so they'll be available. But that's it. Thank you.